The following is a presentation of the Texas 24/7 Television Network.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Saints Nation. The 2018 Saints football season is here. The Texas 24/7 Television Network proudly presents the Aaron Beck Coaches Show with head coach of the Fort Worth All Saints, Aaron Beck.
Touchdown, Saints, to put the icing on this cake.
Into the end zone, touchdown, Saints.
Now, with the coach, here's Ken Buckner.
Welcome, Saints Nation, wherever you may be. We're back for another week of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show here on the Texas 24/7 Television Network, week number 4 of the 2018 season. It's a bye week for all Saints, but we don't let up here on the Coaches Show. And, of course, we have a lot to get to. We have a lot of special guests, pretty much the entire offensive starters in the backfield and the wideouts, including the quarterback Clark Hillman, all coming up. We'll take a swim through the All Saints field hockey, the championship field hockey team there at All Saints as well. And we'll do a little preview of Bishop Dunn coming up next Friday night. But got to welcome the coach on, Aaron Beck. How are you, Coach?
Ken, doing well for a Monday. It was one of those weekends where you just spend a whole lot of time working on things to see where we are, kind of catching the bye week, what we want to accomplish this week to make sure we're still moving forward in the right direction. And while the first 3 weeks, the first game against the Florida team, that was kind of almost a glorified scrimmage. It was a fun situation for the kids, but rolling into regions where we didn't play a very good first half of football, came back and showed that we still got the fight and the grit. And then last Friday night over in the swampy conditions of Cedar Hill, we just made too many mistakes. That was a game. Cedar Hill's a little more athletic than we are, no doubt about it. But we made mistakes that we can't make in those kind of games if we expect to win. And we left some points on the table in the first half. The coaching staff got in the way a little bit of the game Friday night. Some of our players still are learning how to react to adversity, and the weather knocked our headsets out. Yeah. So we had all kinds of adventures going on before the game even started, and then the field, the playing conditions were borderline unplayable. We were a little bit concerned about that, but I still feel like we got better. Yeah. And I know that's hard to say, but you've got to focus on the things that were positive. Clark Hillman, for really the first time this year, seemed like in the first half he was in a really good rhythm, starting to the tempo of the type of offense we like to play was getting pretty good. Jacob had a 100-yard game. Junior played so much on both sides of the ball, but did not get tired. We didn't have an issue there. We just got to continue to focus on crossing our I's and dotting our T's and making sure that the little bitty things that lead up to victories are what's going to get this team through the season. I think we've got the bones and the makings of a really good football team, but they've got and inherited the toughest schedule we've ever had.
Yeah.
And so, our non-conference games are really a challenge, and it doesn't get any easier week to week. So that still makes it a lot of fun for us. And I think after getting past the Regents game, and don't get me wrong, our kids were not happy Friday night after this game either, but I honestly sense that they're starting to feel that too, coming together as a team, working, fighting and scratching together. And that, as a coach, that's what you want to see. We can fix the little bitty things, but I still feel good about our season upcoming.
It was a 44-20 loss to Trinity Christian Cedar Hill. You mentioned, the conditions were not conducive really for any sort of favorable night for All Saints there on the field. It's we spoke about this in past weeks on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show that, obviously it's a young core and the roster and so many new parts in 2018 from a year ago. And really it's climbing that ladder and building that foundation of experience and reps and the positives and whatnot. And really the goal to get to district and be ready for those games, which start in district about a month from right now. Well,
when you look at Austin Regents, Trinity Christian, Cedar Hill, Dunn, and Prestonwood, and where they're ranked, I don't know of any test prep better to get us ready for our district. And what I'm really thankful for is the way we space the open weeks. We catch one this week, which we need. I think we're going to get Nico Adams back for the Dunn game. Peyton Kramer, who you saw a little bit, sophomore on Friday, coming off his wrist injury. I expect Peyton each week to get better and better, and will definitely end up helping us along the way. We've got our prayers definitely wrapped around Jack Taylor this week. He goes back to the doctor on Wednesday, so we'll find out what his future holds. And I think once we open up here for district against Trinity Christian at Addison at home, I think we're going to be very, very seasoned. We will have seen teams that are definitely much faster than the teams we'll face during our conference play. So, we're still in the middle of that test, but so far, I think it's definitely sharpened our sword.
When it comes to, and you mentioned the offensive performances by Jacob Matlock, running back, and of course, Parks and Donche Douglas and company, who we're going to talk to all and plenty more guests on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show coming up. But the defense of All Saints continues to just be, I hate to say superstar, but they've been just rock solid since week number 1.
With what we're accomplishing defensively with 3 starters out in the secondary has been pretty impressive. And man, our front box guys are so tough, and they've got a good rotation going. Where when we face teams like Cedar Hill, where they've got some guys that might be a little bit bigger and definitely faster, we just had more bodies in the box on Friday, and that showed up. We played the run well. Defensive line is tough. Linebacker play with Kramer and Sanders, is getting better each week as well. So defensively, that's setting the tone for us right now. That's different for All Saints football. Being what we've been over the last 10 to 12 years, and as an old defensive coordinator, for me personally, it's just so much fun to watch.
So I obviously, and I know you have too, got a lot of comments about how the game ended on Friday. We won't necessarily dig into that, but I'll just say this and ask you this one thing. How good did it feel, Will Shipman intercepting that ball in the waning moments as the Tigers were trying to go in?
Hey, the universe is all about karma. So, but I honestly, I do not second guess what people do on the other side of the field. I just use it all to the best of our ability as teachable moments. We can only react to how we're going to handle ourselves in those kind of situations. I was real proud of the way our kids did it, and yeah, I definitely owe Will Shipman a little something for making that pick in the end zone. That was outstanding.
There we go. All right. It has been addressed. And we put that to bed, the 44-20 loss last week against Trinity Christian. All right. So we load the box, so to speak. My goodness. So many guests coming up, the wide receivers, the running backs, and the quarterback of All Saints. That happens next as we continue on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, week number 4 here on the Texas 24/7 Television Network. We continue on this bye-week edition, week number 4 of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show here on the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Ken Buckner here, Coach Beck on the line too, and a room full of Saints. We have the wideouts and the running backs here as our special guests on this week number 4. First of all, how are you guys?
Doing great.
Start off with the wide receivers here. We got the starting four, if you will. We've got senior Jordan Jones, the juniors Donche Douglas and Montarian Money Parks, and then the junior tight end Mitch Bothwell. Let's go with Parks and Montarian. First of all, you're transferred over from Aledo here to Fort Worth All Saints. Talk about the transition to not just being on the team there at All Saints, but also within the culture and the school.
Well, it's just a different experience out here. Everyone's just a family playing together, just one unit and all. Just fun being out here.
It is, and man, it's fun to see you on the field. It's for you a really cool thing because you already had a relationship with the junior quarterback Clark Hillman coming over because he transferred as well from Aledo. Talk a little bit about your quarterback and that chemistry that you already had with him.
Yes, sir. Well, we stay in the same area in Aledo, so we go down to the middle school field and throw balls every day.
How far back have y'all been playing ball together?
About 3 years now.
Oh, very cool. Let's see. Talk about your season so far because it's been a good one, as many expected as well. You had some nice grabs in the game against Trinity Christian last Friday night. Talk about your 2018 season and your first year as a Saint.
Well, this year is fun. I never got that many balls last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly in that offense, man. It's going to amp it up. And talk about your role within that wide receiving crew. Just
trying to be a leader and get everybody on the same page.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask, all right, the nickname, Money Parks. Okay, where did Money come from? And how long has that been a nickname for you?
And my nickname since I was little. My dad gave it to me.
Ah, very good. All right. So, but it's great. There it is, Montarian Money Parks, junior wide receiver. Let's flip over to the other transfer that came in, junior Donche Douglas. Now, you transferred in from Chisholm Trail. Talk about your experience in your first year as Saint.
It's been a lot different. Everybody plays as a family here, and everybody's on the same page.
And talk about this wide receiving core because it's something certainly with the spread offense there and what John Bates, the offensive coordinator, and Coach Beck have set up over the years. Wide receivers, very strong ones, athletic like yourself, and the others have become just routine there. But talk about what that wide receiving core here in 2018.
I feel like we have one of the best receiving cores in the state, and the way our offense is set up, it gives us all the way to be successful in our own ways.
And just like Parks, you have 4 touchdowns receiving on the year. You had only 1 catch last Friday night, but it was a big one. Talk about that play. It went for 55 yards and taking it all the way to the house.
It felt good to score on Deion Sanders' son, showing that he's not that good, but...
Let's see. And then finally, you've been, along with Money Parks, a part of the return game as well, too. Talk about your role on special teams.
Get the ball in the end zone or set up good field position for the team.
Well, it's worked out for you, man. You've had some nice returns on the year, too. Now let's flip over to a returning Saint, but in the starting role this year, senior Jordan Jones. Jordan, you were thrust into the starting role with the injury to T. Laughlin. Talk about your role as a senior leader on that wide receiving core.
Yes, sir. It's a different role than I expected coming into the year. Expected maybe play some defense, get some special teams here and there. But, now that I'm here starting, it's a big deal for me. I'm really excited to do what I can to help the team out.
Well, you certainly got the height that's 6'2", as we have you listed. Talk about your game and what you're personally working on now.
Yes, sir. I'm just looking to be the best I can be, whether it be to become faster, stronger, more athletic. I would just like to, get out there and be the best I can do. And, I might not be the fastest guy, but just trying to improve every day and work with Clark and work with the rest of the receivers, become even better than I already am.
Here talking to the wide receivers and about to talk to the running backs as well as our special guest here on this Aaron Beck Coaches Show, week number 4, the bye-week edition at Texas24.net, here with Jordan Jones. Now, in week number 1 of the Aaron Beck Show, Coach Beck said, Jordan is a brilliant trash talker when it comes, and he meant that in a very, very positive light. Talk about that a little bit and exactly what do you do? What do you say, man?
Well, recently I've had to pull back on the trash talking as I got a personal foul week 2. I just mental game. You got to get in their head, and once you're in their head, it's over for them. So it's all about playing leverage on whatever you have on them.
Yeah, there's an art to it, man. I mean, there's no doubt on that. Moving on to the other junior there, it's Mitchell Bothwell. And Mitch, this your first year on the varsity. I got to know you and your game as a power forward on the basketball team. So talk about your journey a little bit now playing football in 2018.
Well, it's my first time playing football ever, and so far I like it. It's a lot more physical than basketball, so I don't know, I like it so far.
Well, I mean, you're physical there, and we saw this throughout the TAPS playoffs last spring. I mean, you're physical down there and actually earned your way basically throughout the course of the season to really be either right off the bench or even in that starting five. But you have a very physical game with that. Talk about how your basketball prowess has helped you, because I can personally see it there on the field.
Well, you can't ever quit, and basketball taught me that. And so last year I came into the season not as a starting player, but I worked up to come off the bench and really help the team out. So that kind of translated into football, and I wasn't expecting to come out as a starting receiver, considering it's my first year, but just got to stick with it and not quit and get what you earn.
Well, 6'3", 215 pounds, we have you listed at, Mitchell, so you definitely have the size. And we've seen throughout these 3 weeks, every single game, your contributions have increased. Talk about your progress throughout 2018.
Well, each week I learn more and more, and I'm just really trying to get my foundations down and just get a better feel for the game, and I think that's just going to continue throughout the season.
And we've seen it not only in the receiving game. I mean, you had a grab for a touchdown. That was a fantastic play last Friday night. But one of the things that we've noticed from the booth, and it's even more important than the receiving, it seems, is your blocking. When especially on those little swing routes out to either Jacob Matlock or out of the backfield, or if it's a screen out to Money or Don Shea. Talk about your blocking, man, because that's been phenomenal.
I just want to protect my players. I don't want to see linebacker come hit Jacob or someone hit Jordan, so it's my responsibility to keep them safe from that first guy, so I just try and do my best.
Well, there are the wide receivers there, the starting four, if you will, for All Saints here in 2018. All right, let's jump to the backfield, and we will start off with, actually, you know what? Let's talk to Paul Breedlove, because we're starting to see you a little bit more on the field. Certainly have seen you, Paul, in your sophomore season, 6'3", 213 pounds on the defensive side. Seen you work into that defensive rotation there on the front four, but also now starting to see you more in the passing game. So, talk about your 2018 so far.
It's been a really fun year. Coming off the bench, it's a lot of fun. Trying to give my guys rest when they need it, and not letting it be a letdown when I come in, and still trying to keep the energy high. And, that's kind of what I try to highlight in games, is keeping everyone with high energy and just playing with high energy the whole game.
And I know we're talking about the offense right now, but really a highlight this season already has been the defense and that defensive line rotation. And, it's just a brilliant job that, defensive coordinator Brian Edmondson and, of course, defensive line coaches J.W. Wilson, Daniel Carroll have that rotation that you guys have. Talk about you and the rest of the rotation along that front defensive line.
I mean, there's no letdowns whenever anyone comes in the game at defensive line. Everyone comes in, they give all they can, and we know we rotate 6 or 7 guys throughout the game, and there's no one who goes in and we have to worry about them not executing their job. And that shows a lot about the coaching and how well we're coached, and just how all 6 or 7 of us can play full speed the whole game.
We certainly don't want to reveal anything as far as the playbook goes, but you're looking at a more increased role within the passing game coming up.
Yes, sir.
And that is where we will leave it at that. Yeah. All right. Well, very good, Paul. All right. Now let's flip to the backfield, and let's talk to some of the runners. And Chase Parrish, junior, 5'7", 138 pounds. Chase, we haven't seen you necessarily on the field as far as in the running game yet, but talk about your role within that backfield.
I'm really the student, I would say, out of all of our running backs. I'm new, honestly, to that position. So this season for me has been more about it's been more of a learning experience, but I'm really lucky to have the guys around me, Jacob, Junior, Clark, Derek, T. They've all been really helpful to me learning the position as quickly as I can. And so I'm real thankful for them to teach me how to play that position.
Well, so far, what have you learned from your backfield mates as far, and what is your game exactly? I mean, I've seen you on the field. You've got quite a bit of speed.
Yeah, I would say as far as what they've taught me, everything, honestly, mainly technique a lot. Coming into this, like when I first started playing the position, I had issues. One of my issues was staying low when I'm running. At 5'7", it's not really a problem for me most of the time, but I had some problems staying low. But watching Jacob and Junior, all of them run, it's kind of helped me to perfect my technique running. So now, and I play a bit of JV as well, and I can stay really low. So.
Well, talking with the runners, and now we move on to Derek Ferguson, senior, 5'9", 170-pound Derek Ferguson, and we saw you quite a bit, 13 carries in week number 1, and you were a nice change of pace back out of the backfield, but for a speed type guy, a slash runner that likes to get around the edge, you run with a lot of power, man.
Thank you.
Talk about your role there in that All Saints backfield.
Just always being ready. Like Chase said, I'm still learning too. I'm learning from these guys. It's always great to watch Jacob and Junior both run the ball, get up the field. They always wow me every time they touch the field, touch the ball. So it's just learning from these guys and just staying ready.
When you're on the depth chart behind a workhorse, and we're about to talk to Jacob coming up here, how do you stay ready for at any moment it could be your turn to get in there?
Just always keeping these guys, going in the game, always yelling from the sidelines, making sure that, that they're still amplified and hyped throughout the game, no matter what the situation is, just watching them learning as much as I can do.
And as a senior, talk about that leadership role, because, as we've mentioned several times throughout this year, 26 seniors graduated last year off the roster. Talk about being one of the senior leaders on that team.
Just helping these guys throughout practice, throughout games, whatever I can do. When we're going over plays, making sure that they know what's going on. And then, even during scout team, which I really enjoy, just making sure that they have the right technique and know how to get up the field.
There he is, Derek Ferguson. And now let's talk to number 22, now in his junior season, starting running back, Jacob Matlock. Jacob, man, you had a brilliant sophomore season, ran for over 1,300 yards, second team All-State. Talk about just first a little bit as we look back to last season and talk about that first year there in the backfield.
Well, last season was just amazing. I got lucky and had an amazing line, pretty much all seniors. Gladly a couple of them got to return, so get a little bit of workhorses there. But yeah, last year, all my credit to my line. They did everything for me.
So going through the offseason and into your junior year, what was your outlook to start off 2018?
Well, I had to look at the people coming up. Like the Brockemeyer twins and, of course, Chase. Chase has gotten amazing. And Clark, of course, stepped up at quarterback, so that was great to have. But, just those line coming in, all the strength coming in, they just really showed up and showed me what to do and where to follow.
Well, now that we're on the subject of your offensive line, speak about them a little bit. There were some shifts going in from week 2 to the game week 3 last Friday night. Michael Flores moved over to right guard. David Beck flipped sides. Chase Stadler went to right tackle. Talk about how that line has gelled and their progress this year.
Oh, they're starting to come together very, very well. Yeah, of course, there's always work to be done. But Coach Bates and Coach Beck just saw Chase being better at the outside, and Michael Flores as well. And David Beck, of course, is always just a fighter. He's hands down probably the hardest working lineman, along with Michael Flores. So they're just coming together greatly.
Well, and your game is coming together as well, too. 2 back-to-back 100-yard games. Talk about your personal performance and just evaluate yourself, if you will, for 2018 so far.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things I could have done better. There's several things. Like in the first game, I didn't do the best. I didn't really use my vision as well as I could have. I didn't follow my blocks. But these last 2 games coming up, I think we're all starting to click better as a team, and everything's just kind of falling into piece.
And Jacob, you're on the track and field team there and the relay team there at All Saints. So we knew you had speed when you went into that role last season, but it's been your physicality, man. I mean, I remember Darren Woodson one time telling me there are 2 type of running backs that he has to stop. One that he delivers the hit, and the other where the running back hits them. And you're one of those that lays the hammer down, buddy.
I try my best, yes, sir.
All right, so we've talked to the wide receivers and the running backs, so we've got the targets. Let's talk to the guy that dishes the ball out, and that is junior transfer over from Aledo in his first year there at All Saints, quarterback Clark Hillman. Clark, talk about your 2018 and coming over from Aledo to All Saints.
Yes, sir. It was a pretty easy transition. I know most of the kids like all my life playing baseball with them whenever I was young. So it wasn't too bad. I really liked it here a lot.
We've seen your, just your progress through week 1, which, by the way, week 1 was insane. I mean, you had 6 touchdowns, and it was just a brilliant statistic game. But I've seen over the past 2 weeks, really your accuracy and the timing with your wide receivers, and of course that's going to come after time. But it was a very, very crisp, specifically in the first half last Friday night against TCCH.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, this is all from practice pretty much, just getting the timing down and just getting more reps with the timing with all the receivers.
Now, you bring, it's such a lineage there of quarterbacks and those that have worn the number 12 there. There's a little bit of shadow casting over you. What is it like to step into that when you look back and, Luke Anthony's and Sean Taylor's and whatnot over the years?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to keep carrying on the tradition. I mean, that's basically all. I picked number 12 to keep on the past 3 quarterbacks have all been number 12, and I just want to keep carrying on that tradition.
And when it comes to your offensive line, talk about those guys.
They've been great all season. The pass protection's been unbelievable. I mean, they're pretty much the main reason to even get the ball out. So they've just been great.
And you bring something that's, a little more mobility out of the pocket. And really last Friday for the first time, we got to see you've got some wheels, man. Talk about your ability to run out of the pocket.
I just, as I'm sitting back there, I just try to get away, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's become, a little wrinkle too that, are there schemed plays for that?
We haven't run much scheme plays for me running, but we'll call the pass play and I'll just try to get away from the pass rusher.
I talked to Coach Beck on the show about this, but I want to hear from you specifically. What have you pinpointed that you need to work on to continue building that foundation and from game to game as we head into district about a month away?
I think the main thing is protecting the ball and then getting the ball out faster, just going through my reads and check down as fast as I can.
Well, there you are. That's the offensive starters for All Saints in 2018, and appreciate the time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, get back to practice for crying out loud, or class. What are you doing?
Yep, there you go. All right, guys.
All right, we continue here next with more guests on this bye week on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, and we stick to the field, but we move over to Stevens Field and what happens there at All Saints, and that is the reigning 2017 TAP State champions in field hockey. Coach Dana Weber will be on with us, and the big Episcopal Cup is coming up this week, and we'll take a look at that as we continue next on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show on the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Week 4 of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show continues here on the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Ken Buckner here, your host. Coach Beck on the line, and more special guests because it's a bye week and we can fit everybody in. No, it's a big week for All Saints Athletics on a different field. Stevens Field, actually, the Episcopal Cup this Friday and Saturday. That is the World of Field Hockey, and boy, what a field hockey team it is over there at All Saints. Coach, Dana Weaver on with us. How are you, Coach?
I'm fine, thanks.
And, before we get into the happenings this week and the 2018 season and your roster and your team, I'd be remiss to not bring up 2017. The TAPS state champions won it down there in Houston, recorded the first ever TAPS championship for All Saints. So, I know you're a coach. It's always, we got to move forward and stuff, but still, that's just looking back a little bit. What did that mean to you and the program?
It was awesome. It was actually, ironically enough, lucky number 13. It was my 13th season here. I actually won my 100th game last year, too.
Yes.
So really exciting. Almost my entire team is coming back. So we're looking forward to repeat.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, the 2018 roster, you had 5 All-Staters last year. 4 of those return, and, yeah, most everybody is back. So talk about your 2018 field hockey team there at All Saints.
We're rolling along right now. We're about 500. We just played in a tournament this weekend, and everybody got to play. Got some quality time for some of my younger kids that were on JV that I brought up with us this weekend. So we're still really young, but we're rolling along.
And you glossed over it just a little bit ago, but yeah, in your 13th year, but your 100th win registered last September. That is no small feat. Congratulations on that. And personally, I know it's all about the team and the school, but personally, what did that mean to you? What was that feeling like?
Wow, all the hard work and dedication is finally paying off.
And you've been at you had a brilliant playing career over there on the East Coast and whatnot. Tell everybody a little bit about your history just within the sport and athletics.
Actually, I wouldn't say brilliant career, but I was a 4-year starter at James Madison. I actually didn't start playing hockey until I was a freshman in high school because I was the big-time soccer kid, and that was actually my first love. And when I didn't get back in time from a soccer camp to try out for volleyball, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to play this sport with a skirt and try it out, and I loved it. It hooked me. I'm like, soccer, but with a stick and a ball, I'm going. Let's have at
it. It's interesting you bring that up because, yeah, to the novice, that's not familiar or have played it or coached it or even officiated in it and whatnot, field hockey can be, any sport you're not completely 100% familiar with, it can be a little daunting. What would you liken it to, and what would you say to somebody that, may be listening right now that, knows all about football, but, field hockey, it's got part finesse, but it's very physical.
It's not. Yeah, that's funny you say that. Yes, it is physical, but it's not supposed to be. We're supposed to be a non-contact sport. Yeah, right. But it is. It's very similar to soccer in that sense. We play with the same number of players with a keeper. But the exciting part about our game is there's no offside, so we can stand literally on the other goal line if we wanted to and don't get in trouble. It is a fast-moving game if it's played right. It's more fun to play on turf, but the grass is pretty cool because our facility here is awesome. So it's about as close to turf as we can get with how well they keep our grounds up. But yeah, everybody confuses it with lacrosse, but it's nothing like lacrosse. Not even close to lacrosse.
And, you've been there for 13 years there at All Saints. Just talk about, the culture of being there, and not just All Saints Athletics, but just All Saints Episcopal School.
It's very much PTS. It's all about protected family, and we keep sending that message out to our kids. We're really good, at least with my program. We have a couple new kids this year, and we've just completely embraced them and brought them in because we are literally for our entire season one big giant family. We travel together, we take care of each other. We do our secret sisters because that's basically what we are. Just one big giant family.
So moving on, we're here with Coach Dana Weaver, the head coach there of the field hockey team at All Saints on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. All right, it's a big week. It's the Episcopal Cup, the 21st, 22nd, Friday and Saturday, all taking place at Stevens Field. Give us some more scoop on that, and it's such a big area event.
Yes, it is. We're bringing 5 schools this year. We had 7 last year, but it's our second annual. And we're going to play a round-robin style this year, so everybody's going to get to play everybody, unlike last year. So whoever wins the most games takes home the big trophy, and it's probably going to be us.
I love it. There you go. And, after that, next week, fans, you can make plans on the 25th. That's coming up on Tuesday. There's a game there at All Saints as the Saints will take on Oak Ridge as well. So, all right. So, looking ahead as far as the TAPS and district, and honestly, what I'm trying to drive at is, tell me about your chances at repeating as state champions.
Oh, our chances are very, very good because the team that we actually played in the finals last year graduated 9 seniors. So I'm not in that boat. Like I said, I have 10 of my 11 starters coming back. So it's looking pretty good. Actually, I think it's looking pretty good for the next 2 years to keep repeating.
Very good. All right. Well, hey, fans, here at Texas24.net, Texas 24/7 Television Network, I believe we're going to be broadcasting at least a few of the games of the Episcopal Cup and certainly throughout the field hockey season this year. So that question earlier about how would you describe to the novice field hockey, that may have been just selfishly asked for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to commentating this thing.
That's awesome, Ken. So we're excited.
Well, and I might be powwowing with you for some of those nuances and little things, so I somewhat know what I'm talking about.
You will. I promise. It'll take me 5 minutes, and you'll have it down.
Excellent.
No one will ever know that you've never seen a game.
Because what I've planned the soccer, goal, and last that for a good 15 seconds. So I got that part down. I'm ready.
All right.
Well, thank you. There she is, head coach of the field hockey team there at All Saints, Coach Dana Weaver. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Episcopal Cup coming up this Friday and Saturday there at All Saints. Back to the head coach on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show next. We will take a look at what happens at the bye week, an overall look at what's going on within the TAPS conference so far, and some cool moments and memories that happen on and off the field. That ahead as we continue on the show here at Texas247.net. All right, well, the bye week edition continues on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. For a bye week, we got a lot of action here on the Coaches Show, and I know it never really lets up, even though there's not a game per se this week. Talk about the bye week and what happens there at All Saints as far as the practice field.
Well, for us, it gives us time, number one, to focus on our academics, the load that these guys are under. That's the piece that we don't talk enough about. It's so impressive, the way they represent our school and playing the game of football and that time commitment that, there's a difference in a private school and a true college prep school. And we are, we're both of those things. And when you see the course load and the classes these guys take, I mean, I get overwhelmed. And so my job as the head coach is to make sure, the coaching staff puts in so much time, and sometimes they get a little frustrated if a guy's not watching enough huddle film, or he's not, he's had to bypass a morning workout to go to tutorials. But, we remind our coaching staff all the time, hey, these guys, football is just one of their subjects. They've got 7 others that they've got to take care of that, honestly, are more important than the football piece. And so this gives us a chance to get caught up in the classroom, refocus on that. It gives us a chance to work with our young men who are going through the recruiting process. It gives us a chance to really get a jump on our opponents down the way. And we'll spend this week back into the weight room pretty good. We'll spend some time on conditioning. We're only going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we encourage all of our guys to get out. If they need to travel, take college visits, which we spend the week setting up. And colleges are back out on the road. I know Naval Academy will be by here this week, along with a couple of others, as they travel and as colleges start to catch their bye weeks. So, it's sometimes people think it's a week off. It's not. It actually is as busy, if not busier, than the season. But it gives we want to get the guys home this week with their families where they can have dinner and spend some time being kids, because that's what they are. And then, after last year, I just decided, we'll have 2 bye weeks, and we purposely set our season at a 9-game regular season schedule so we could get out and take those college visits. Everybody's starting to apply for schools and still might have some ACT or SAT prep work to do. And so I really enjoy the balance that the 2 bye weeks bring. And Unless something unique comes along, I think I will, for the future of our program, always keep it at that.
Well, Bishop Dunn will be next Friday, the 28th, and that's at Bishop Dunn. So you'll see that game, of course, 7 p.m. scheduled kickoff right here at Texas24.net, followed the next week by Plano Prestonwood, and then another bye week. And then district starts on October 19th. Just because I know you keep a general eye on what's happening across TAPS and certainly within the Division I 6A bracket, so to speak. And it seems this year that as offensive as it has been in the past years, I mean, points on the board all across TAPS, it doesn't matter the team, defense has been a huge thing for every team so far this year, and a lot lower scores, but the defense, including with All Saints, has really come to the forefront.
But isn't that the truth? And I was looking at this week, and a couple of teams in our district had really big wins. You know, Liberty Argyle beat Brock, and I don't know if that game was shortened or not, but I think the score is 21-0, and Nolan had a big win over Salina, which, man, that's impressive. And so, but you're exactly right. When I looked at the Prestonwood score, and they only put up 30, and that's no shot at Addison. It's just that Prestonwood has always been such a scoring machine that you're right. You know, look at the Dunn DeSoto score from this past Saturday. The scores have been uncharacteristically lower at the start of the year, so maybe defenses are starting to figure this spread thing out a little bit. And I know Coach Edmondson's, you know, he spends a good portion of his year coming up with new wrinkles and a way to confuse quarterbacks, and you know, we do such a good job of that, and other people are starting to do exactly the same thing. And football's like everything else; it trends one way or the other. But you know, that's not going to stop us from trying to stay in a tempo rhythm and continue to score a lot of points. But again, it's from the coaching standpoint, maybe not the fan standpoint. From the coaching standpoint, when you look at games like that where the defense is really going toe-to-toe with the offense, strategically it's just so much fun to be a part of.
Well, a lot of good teams coming the Saints' way, as we've mentioned. And, you know, before we close things out here on this star-studded, guest-filled bye-week edition of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, Coach, you know, something you sent me just a fantastically beautiful picture, and I'll retweet this out as well, too, that somebody took right there before the game last Friday there in Trinity Christian, and it was the whole Saints sideline lined up there for the national anthem, and, you know, arms on each other's shoulder pads, and it just seemed to encapsulate, and I don't know if we can do that justice here on the Coaches Show, but it really brought to my mind that past the wins and the losses and the scores and just the journey of a team, and even, you know, the postseason and what you guys are trying to fight for, it is so much about the moments like that and the memories that these kids will have and the experiences that they have, not even on the field during a game, but it's just the camaraderie and whatnot. And that's something that I think gets lost to the outside public looking in, but it's really what it's about at its core.
Well, when you look at programs around the state and around the nation, the ones I think that have great tradition, that's kind of the secret sauce in what they do. And I'm so appreciative on Friday nights that people send us pictures that we don't even think about that tell the story, you know, that a scoreboard doesn't. And that's the most important thing in our program. It's the notes that we get from players who are alumni in our program. It's looking up and you know, Brendan Harmon and Andrew Bird coming up, you know, they're home. They get 2 days off, and what do? They drive out to Cedar Hill to watch All Saints play. and you know, I'll send you some other pics I got over the weekend. I got you know, one from Charlie Reed and Demetrius Knox and Jonathan Song at the TCU and Ohio State game. And I got one from Blaze Moorhead and Isaiah Harris and Kendall Adams from the K-State UTSA game. And you know, this week we've got Luke Anthony and Foster Sawyer squaring off against each other. So it's just, you know, it's priceless, and that doesn't happen overnight. And honestly, that is at the core of what All Saints football and All Saints athletics and All Saints school is all about. It's the protect the family mantra that we we're not perfect by any stretch, but my goodness, we come to work every day and try to put each other first over any of the other stuff that goes on, and so we appreciate our community allowing us to do that, and we appreciate our community when they do also keep it in perspective. And then a special shout out to you, Ken Buckner and Glenn Smith. I listened to a little bit of the show last night when it got posted up online, and man, you guys, good chemistry. I think the Saints Nation's going to enjoy that camaraderie in the booth. You guys are starting to develop, and everything you guys do for us, man, we really do appreciate it. Roy Zethris with Bear Wire's been at this for a long time, and special shout out to Tim Love as well for helping pull that together behind the scenes. So we're very thankful for all the folks that help make this thing go.
Well, on behalf of the crew and production and whatnot, I can just speak for them and say it's a true honor and a great joy to be able to broadcast and then also do this coach's show with you every single week. And whatever we can do for the Saints Nation, it's truly an honor. But Coach, back to work, and we got a game coming up next week.
Yes, we do, and we'll somehow probably make our way over to Bishop Dunn this Friday to watch them play Cornerstone, I believe, up from San Antonio. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, very good. And, of course, that game on the road against Bishop Dunn will take place next Friday, the 28th, and you'll see that game in high definition right here and on demand, too, as well, if you want to watch it again and again and again, right there at texas24.net. Well, Coach, for all of the guests that we had on, the wide receivers, the quarterback, the running backs, and, of course, head coach of the field hockey team, and they got a big one coming up this week with the Episcopal Cup, Dana Weaver, our big thanks to you.
You bet, Ken. Thank you so much.
All right, we continue next week, another edition of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. And until then, Saints Nation, PTF, thank you so much, and we'll catch you then on the Texas 24/7 Television Network.
Saints Nation, tune in next week for another edition of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show on the Texas 24/7 Television Network, live at texas24.net. And see the Saints on the field next Friday night, September 28th, as the Saints head on the road to take on the Falcons of Bishop Dunn. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m. live and in high definition, televised at texas24.net. The Aaron Beck Coaches Show is hosted by Ken Buckner and produced by Roy Zethris. No element of this broadcast may be produced or retransmitted without the express written consent of the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Copyright 2018. PTF. Protect the family. This is the Texas 24/7 Television Network.